So I want to say after what happened, after that little drama I went through yesterday, I realized I've been procrastinating on my tolerance break and the dangers of cannabis usage and extreme excess. Well, like I say, the fact that I thought that man was a harmless, gentle hippie type or gentle type person, and he was, of course, smoking a lot of cannabis, and he threatened to punch me perhaps because I was speaking about awareness, and dominating my friend's temporary jewelry stand. And again, like I say, he projected on me what he was doing. And I came back from uploading videos that he was even more dominating. And my dear friend was just surrounded by people with massive parasites, a bunch of people on bad drugs that wanted to feed off his energy. And again, I said the reason why he can't watch these videos or listen is because it's very challenging for somebody, particularly who's friendly, loves to serve others, to admit this even exists. When he gets upset, he'll tell me, "Oh, I have 20 personalities. Which one do you want?" I want you to have one personality, my brother. I want you to realize that all these energy parasites are not you, and how your anger or your judgment, wrath, being a control freak, being worried about money, being worried about what you're going to do, is the means that these interdimensional entities get in. Now, if this man is actually somebody that would want to punch me off of that little bit of annoyance, then what that means is, assuming that it wasn't an energy parasite or what I call interdimensional demon, again, they manipulate us through drama and worthless fighting if we're not aware. Now, assuming that it was simply he was a very angry, wounded man using cannabis to seem like he was relaxed, loving. Well, let's just make the counter assumption that my theory is all made up schizophrenia mythology. Well, guess what? That man, let's just say that is his real personality. Well, that man is never going to get real with his soul unless he peels back the layers and looks at what's under the covers, looks at what's, as I called in other videos, the blind spot in the rearview mirror. Look at these parts of the subconscious that are hidden. Now, this is where these mental parasites always reside. Now, again, even if it's someone's personal anger, they can instigate it, make you more irritated, give you anxiety attacks, or make you want to punch somebody for no reason. And only because you're addicted to some situation or substance or your control over the surrounding area. In this case, it seemed to be that. So the point is that if this man or myself or the other guy that we were both really being too dominating over, all three of us, if we ever want to get real in our personalities, it's going to require what I'm going to do today and tomorrow, and take tolerance breaks. And not just to lower your tolerance, but the extremely painful shadow work for somebody like that who uses a lot of cannabis without the exaggeration of the loving, divine, psychedelic aphrodisiac plant, making you feel better, temporarily killing your mental or physical illnesses. The other guy, he's like, well, they act like, and on occasion they've acted like it was weird that I would do tolerance breaks. So what I have to say to both these men and the whole world is simply this: if you never take a tolerance break, if you never have a day where you're not high, you will never face the parasitism that is caused from and through the ego, the anger, the wrath, the judgment, the control, all the lower emotions. Again, and if you are really an angry person, or in my case, a sad, overwhelmed with sadness, and you always put the Band-Aid on with the cannabis or a beer or whatever, a cup of coffee, cigarettes, anything can do it. Plant drugs are simply less psychically violent, less parasitizing to your subconscious because they're not physically addicting, except for coffee or cigarettes. But the thing is that any mentally addictive substance can just draw in these parasites very, very easily to the unawares. And what's the answer? I mean, today I'm going to work on meditation. And again, it's like this. If you have to have that ganja or that pharmaceutical to block the monster out, what does that do to those monsters when you block them out of your awareness? When you think, oh, I feel happy, I'm good, I'm relaxed, I'm good-natured, when you're really not good-natured, when you're really not happy, when you're really not relaxed. Well, the cannabis is making your mental or physical illness go away for 3 or 4 hours, sure. But on a subconscious level, what is it doing? Is it masking your feelings? Is it exaggerating your good feelings and making you pretend like you have no negative feelings? Okay, this is where it's very, very, very dangerous. If the individual, or let's say the state of all the people who smoke cannabis in California and have a huge ready supply, can never face their psychological demons and dragons, well, guess what? This is where the la-di-da, this is where the Illuminati and the Zeta Greys can just pretty much make California their little playthings. Okay, so don't do it. Is it possible the reason why this man got all offended and said I talk too much, and the other guy tells me I never take a break? Because they can't handle this kind of conversation. They can't face the idea even. They can't even consider the idea that it wasn't their ego, their little me. Well, again, all I got to say about this subject is eventually, no matter how much bliss or no matter how much masking, no matter how much drug or plant medicine induced joy or connection to Mahayana or connection to the great grand picture it brings you, or connection to healing vibes temporarily and loving consciousness it brings you, if you do not look under the mask, if you do not look in your subconscious, if you do not take a tolerance break, if you can't quit for one day, you're not really in a healthy relationship with this plant medicine. You have to. Again, this is the shadow part of a huge part of the shadow work is facing those things in yourself you're not willing to face. If you can't do that, any healing and wonderful plant, any healing and wonderful place, any healing and wonderful friendship can destroy you or cause you intense mental or physical extreme situations. Because, again, this goes back to my video on positionality, all of my videos on narcissistic entities and narcissistic abuse. All of these tendencies can be drawn into these habits. So if you live by your addiction or exist or feel happy simply through something outside of yourself, and you never are willing to even look inside yourself at all to see if you're miserable or happy, it's a very dangerous and disrespectful and unconscious place, so that when something upsets you, you become this parasite, and it's not cool, and it's not you. With me, I'm maybe a step ahead. I'm not fully clear, and I still have to deal with these things trying to upset me. However, I will start telling them you're an idiot and I'm not this vibration. So I'm not done with my shadow work, but I'm in the phase of where I can admit that I need to improve. So I encourage everyone to take a look in the mirror that's not the funhouse mirror. Take a look in the psychological mirror that you're looking at when you're sober. Now, I just had a cold brew, so maybe this is a little more machismo and a little more full of ego than I really am. Again, there's no way to clear out these parasites unless you're willing to admit they exist and do the shadow work to really look at yourself and see what it is that you need to look at that you're hiding from yourself. This is why shadow work is something most people are afraid of. They're chicken out. It's just too much. It's too hard for them psychologically. They'd rather make me into a bad guy. Okay? It's a very hard thing to do. However, on the other hand, people that love cannabis, at least the people that would hang out with me, not that guy, I guess, but, the other guy, even though he'll tune it out if I talk about the interdimensional parasites, he's willing to at least use cannabis as a psychologist to some degree. Now, it's a wonderful way to be your own psychotherapist. But again, you have to see how your psychological and addictive bias can hide things from you. And when you can see the objects the cannabis is hiding, if you can take a tolerance break for several days and go into a lucid dream, which most of us can never do when we're stoners, it can really give you clues as to what you're hiding from yourself and how to get real with those parts you're hiding. However, if you never stop your mental or physical addictions, if you never stop going into the same exact physical locations, if you never talk to anyone that's not your best friend, you're never going to get real with your subconscious. Because strangers and people you don't know real well and taking tolerance breaks are going to really, really stir up those disrespectful spirits within, whether they're you or Zetas, okay? And what you have to do to get real with your subconscious is to challenge all of these things that block out your awareness of what is harming your mind, your body, and others. Now, I can easily be a hypocrite and make this video and not do the work. But can I be honest with myself and do the work and bring it into the 3D material plane just like I can in the 2D plane where I'm just talking and making a video, or the 5th or 6th dimension where I'm interacting and bringing about the La Familia vibes? Can I bring about the La Familia vibes to someone when they want to punch me? It's a challenge. But I tell you, people, it's a possibility. You can possibly heal these things. However, without the courage to admit there's a problem, you'll never do it. Okay? So, have the courage to admit there's a problem and realize if you don't get real with yourself, everybody else is going to think you are a mirage. If you don't face these obstacles that cause you to stay stuck, you're never going to get out of your black magic mojito, which is really, again, how the pestilence program will destroy you if you let it. Don't identify with those negative, violent, disrespectful, control freak thoughts or feelings. Identify your soul as a ray of the Christ, a part of the light. Once you become consistent with this, you're not going to tell me you have 20 personalities. You're not going to tell me you have to punch me out because you didn't like what I said. You're going to say, thank you. That was very painful, but now I'm beginning to get clear. Because cannabis can only give you the illusion of temporary clarity if you're not willing to do the shadow work, okay? It can feed those entities and make them dominate your personality more. So learn to say no to that. Learn to say yes to self-respect more every day, and self-love and self-nurturance and nurturing others. Then you will be more real with yourself. Subscribe if you enjoyed this, and God bless you, people.